Hi, I'm Alice.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is our bus. Welcome back to another video. We've actually had quite a break between this video and the last video. We had a whole bunch go on. We had Pride, we had a Portland trip, we had Halloween, we got sick for like 2 weeks, and everything's just been busy, and I just wasn't in the mood for filming some of it. We decided we wanted this channel to only be something that we enjoy doing, so we only want to shoot videos when we feel like it and when we feel like we have a story to tell. So took a break. But in the meantime, I got some projects done. We built the upper cabinets here, and the cabinets are just simple ones that attach up into the ceiling using like heavy-duty drywall anchors that go through the fiberglass layer. And got all those painted, and then we got the bench seats made, which are just blocks of dense foam cushion that we made a double pillowcase style for. So we have an outer layer to wash and an inner layer to be more protective. And then I started work on the kitchen cabinets here, which have been a challenge because getting things square and everything has been really difficult. And because we're on zero budget, we can't really afford cabinet grade wood and things like that. So that'll be an upcoming project to figure out. And then the project I'm going to be working on today is that our solar power system is not quite working correctly. Our inverter is rated for 2,000 watts, so it should have enough power to power a 1,500 watt appliance. But the problem is that the inverter is just turning off. It'll push 160 amps for about a minute or so, and then it just shuts down. No error messages, no nothing. Tech support wasn't able to help. They blame the batteries. But the batteries are brand new, and there's 400 amp hours and fully charged, so they should have enough. So then I ran a test powering all of our Halloween decorations, and it wasn't able to make it even a single night, even though I calculated it should have been able to power them for 80 hours at that power draw. So something is wrong. So I'm going to disconnect the batteries and plug in just one battery at a time, charge it to 100%, and then do like a light bulb and chart out how long each battery discharges for. So that we can see if one of them is bad and is triggering the rest to shut down or something, kind of out of ideas. So it's something that we're just going to have to test on. This is still a hotline. Okay. So what I did there is rewire these so that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 on the positive side, and then 4, 3, 2, 1 on the negative side. So I got the last bolt off, but it had gotten cross-threaded or something, and I actually had to torque off the entire thing to get it loose. I don't know how these stop nuts even do that, but that's what happened. So now I'm going to hook it back up, get just one battery on, and then plug it into shore power and chart how much it charges up, and then let it discharge and chart all that. Solar is disconnected. Inverter is disconnected. Plug that in. I'm ready to start my test. I've got a light bulb that will be our load. I've got the inverter that has a voltmeter on it, so we'll use that voltmeter. And we've got the solar power. The 12 volt side is connected, but the solar part is disconnected, so it will work as a voltmeter through the Victron app, which will chart it constantly to see how long all of these things take and how the voltages go. Right now it's reading 13.46 volts, which should be 99%, 100% based on the chart that I have. So let's get started. That is a 60 watt bulb. The light bulb wasn't pulling enough current out of it, so instead I got a fan, and the fan's pulling about 3 amps steadily. So that'll be our test load. Yesterday's test of the battery did not go super well, so it ended up making it 6 hours at 2.4 amp draw, which is only 14.4 amp hours, and this should have been a 100 amp hour battery. So I'm going to plug it into the shore power and start charging it back up, and then we'll do a full another discharge test to see if we can replicate the results. Charger kicked on at 80 amps. I've been working on this electrical for the last at least 2 weeks, and I've got pages and pages of notes and testing and all sorts of stuff. I tested 2 of the batteries separated from everything else. They do hold charge, so if they charge them up and then leave them alone, they do hold the charge indefinitely. It has not been below freezing. When I read it off the inverter, I was only getting 14 and 23 amp hours on a 2.4 amp load. These batteries should be rated to push out 100 amps in 1 hour, or 1 amp over 100 hours. So 2.4 amps only lasted 6 hours. So that's definitely a problem, but I'm not sure if it's because I'm sensing the amperage incorrectly, or if it is the batteries that are bad. But both battery 1 and 2 both got the same amount of amp hours. Still tracking it down. The current test is running on our tiny little backup inverter, which is only a half watt, I think. It can barely run one of the fans, but that takes the whole main inverter out of the picture, so we can verify, is it the batteries, or is it the inverter, or is it something else? So we'll keep testing. So we talked with both GoPower and BattleBorn. GoPower blames BattleBorn and BattleBorn blames GoPower. But it seems like the best answer is going to be to replace the inverter with something that is newer. Okay, we got a new inverter. Both BattleBorn and GoPower blame the other one for what our battery issues are, but we had to spend about $1,200 on a used Victron Multiplus. It's about the same size, and it should fix everything, and it's got Bluetooth and all the other nice new features. Unfortunately, I built this battery box to be exactly the dimensions of the parts that we have, so I'm pretty sure that the new Victron is going to fit in the place that this inverter is in, but I'm not positive. I think I might need a manual. I've got it all wired up. I hope this works. And nothing. Power button. Okay, so it turns out this model does not have Bluetooth on it. I need to get the Bluetooth smart dongle of some sort. Hey, fan turned on, that worked. So it turns out we don't have all the right pieces. We need the Bluetooth dongle that connects into this, so that's another $100. So we will pick this back up when that part comes in. The Bluetooth programmer for the Victron came in, so I'm going to install that. Okay, so smart dongle, power, sensor. Do I need one of these cables? This also doubles as a temperature sensor for the batteries, so I'm going to stick it onto the top of the battery. Alright, there's power. Okay, that's good. Got a blue light. So it turns out it doesn't come with its own connector cable, but it does say it's RJ45, so I'm hoping a standard networking cable will do it. There we go. While this is updating, electrical has been quite the challenge. It's not an easy system to do. Everything is expensive. Firmware updated. I need to program. Oh, that means it's not connecting. So it might be the wrong cable. Okay, I got the app to work. Turns out this yellow cable is a crossover cable, so that's totally useless. But the only small cables that I have are 6 inches long. But now the app does show up and it is able to be configured. So how do I do that? Settings? Nope. How do I configure charging? So the good news is I was able to find a cable from Goodwill for $1. But the bad news is that the Bluetooth programmer will not actually program it. So I have to go buy the USB programmer also, even though I only need it for like 5 minutes. So not super happy with that. So now we're waiting on that part to come in. The programmer finally came in, so we're going to plug it in, get the Victron inverter configured for charging the lithium batteries, and then do some tests, and hopefully this fixes all of our charging problems. I don't know the password. Okay, the password was ZZZ. Inverter gets set to 11.5. Absorption 14 point, float 13.5. Time is going to be 2 hours because I have 4 batteries. Okay, got it plugged into shore power. It is pulling 15 amps. It is the next morning, and I ran the test all night long, and I figured out what some of our problems were. When we were testing with the previous inverter, it was saying it was pulling 7 amps out of it to run those 2 fans, but the Victron says that it's pulling 21 amps. This time I made sure that the Victron charged up the batteries 100% after programming it correctly and everything, which did take quite a bit longer than it did on the other one. I started the test at 2 p.m. yesterday, and it finished at 6 a.m. based on the solar charge controller's history reading. Batteries that it pulled out was 336 amp hours. So that is totally close enough to the 400 to be within the real number. So we finally got this figured out. So I'm going to recharge it today, get it back to 100%, run the test again. But I would say this is a total success. We finally figured out our power problems. And my recommendation to anyone else would be spend the money, get the proper system set up, brand new stuff. Nothing that's already like 6 years old, which is what we tried to do, just save a little bit of money. So thank you for watching. I'm so glad this worked. This has been a long video. I've been making this video for like 2 months, but it's worth it. And we can finally move past our electrical problems. Thank you for watching.